Sent them forth to preach, and to have power to heal sicknesses and to cast out devils. And Simon he surnamed Peter. And James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of...
Okay, we're back.
All right, and there's a reason why I believe what I believe concerning where we could be prophetically. Number one, we see a lot of the other signs. We're seeing war, rumors of wars, China balloon, right? We're seeing all the...
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds funny, but we've just reopened 3 of our military bases in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Because of that balloon?
Because of that balloon. And the truth of the matter is, Mark, like you said, we're on DEFCON 2 because of the balloon.
Yeah. Because
So-
of a balloon.
Because of a balloon. Now, we haven't hit any of those statuses since 9/11.
Yeah.
I did not know.
So, yeah, so there's rumors of war. There's social distress around the world. There are people that are rioting against their governments. There are people that need more money
Yes.
because inflation's taking place. And this isn't just American issues. This is around the world. There are famines, which are really, famine is just a shortage.
Right.
But because of the shortage, it causes inflation. And a famine can be a shortage of food, a shortage of products, a shortage of anything. And we see a lot of shortages, but we also see inflation. For the first time, the two are tied in hand, not just with eggs, but with every product we
Right.
see. We were talking about paint. Paint can be anywhere from $90 to $100 a gallon now because of the supply and demand and the amount of products and raw materials that goes into something as simple as making paint. And clearly, after the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, we see earthquakes in diverse places. But not just there, we've seen them around the world over the last 2 or 3 years. Earthquakes popping up in places that we never believed, like Utah. During the pandemic, there was an earthquake in Utah, and the angel Moroni dropped his trumpet. There's been earthquakes everywhere around the world, recently more so than ever before, but the one that takes the cake is the one that just happened. And 5,500 people confirmed have slipped into eternity. Whether they've gone to heaven or hell, I don't know. But what I do know is they anticipate the death toll to be over 20,000 by the time this thing's all done. And I believe it. It has been a horrible one. So all these things are coming to pass: pestilence, COVID, the different diseases that are incurable, the RSV that has attacked young children. There are people that are dying. People
The
have taken...
insects, the locust.
There's locusts. There's all kinds of pestilence. And there's an aging population around the world from the World War II generation. The baby boomers aren't just American, but they're around the world. It's the aging population. There are billions of people over the age of 60, between 60 and 90 around the world. And when things get hard and weather changes, those people suffer more.
And you brought up something for me today that I didn't realize was a reality, and that was the fact that we actually have the ability to change the weather
Yes.
through is it radio waves?
There's radio waves, but in Vietnam, which, well, that's your generation,
Yeah.
they did what was called cloud seeding in order for the clouds to produce more rain, more
They
powerful
did that
rain.
during the Dust Bowl too. And
Yes.
Yeah.
They did that in order to get the Viet Cong out of the holes. They were hiding and using guerrilla warfare against the U.S. troops, so they wanted it to rain to flood the holes. So they seeded and did cloud seeding, and they've been messing with our weather to make weapons.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? Who do you blame?
Right.
Oh, it's God.
There's 7 HARP systems around the world, believe it or not, and they're all linked together. Even the Dutch have them. It's crazy. They call them different things, and they use different arrays. Like the Dutch one uses FM frequencies, ours uses a high frequency, but they're all over, so they could do the weather warfare. I'm sure they signed treaties saying they won't, but come on.
Yeah.
We've got storms and tornadoes in winter.
Yes.
And freak storms that they come up and they say, this is the worst storm we've seen in 50 years.
Or a century.
Or a century. And that's happening every week now.
Yes. We had a hurricane sit on us for 10 and a half hours.
I know, that was
And
horrifying.
it didn't move.
Didn't move. Stayed right there.
Documented. Didn't move.
That's amazing.
Which I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
But our conversation now is turned to the actual, going to be the Antichrist, because I see these signs.
Yeah.
We see them, and we're of the day, so we should be awake, watching, sober-minded, paying attention to what's coming on the earth, and praying that we are worthy to escape these things at the rapture. Correct? Because in Revelation chapter number 17, I'll start in verse number 3, and this is John. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, the scarlet-colored beast is the Antichrist. He's the beast. Okay? And the woman is the whore. The whore is Babylon. The two are not the same. They're two individual things. The whore is a nation, not a religion. The beast has names full of blasphemy, but in Revelation chapter number 13, he's also got 7 heads. Chapter 12, he has 7 heads. This is important as we read on. And the woman, what did you have a question?
Well, I was going to say, I think a lot of people thought that Rome, Catholicism, because of their scarlet-colored robes and things, had something to do with...
Correct, but it's not the woman or the harlot wearing that, it's the beast.
Right.
So that's where, this is how do you slow down and interpret. And I agree with you, because John also lets you know that one of those heads, and I'm going to read it here in a minute, is one of those beasts. Because remember, it's a 7-headed beast.
Right.
Yeah.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now, it's a mystery until now. Until we see this, it will be a mystery still. I throw this disclaimer out. If this is not the end times, I can only imagine how bad the end times are going to be.
It's going to be horrible.
I do know
Worse.
that we're not going to have a pre-trib rapture.
Oh, yeah.
The Bible is crystal clear on that. Whether we are in the first 3.5 years or not, there are a couple things that have to take place. This is one of them. All right? And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So the worst persecution is going to happen at Babylon. The worst persecution, which is also a persecution that symbolizes what happened at Rome. The two are synonymous. And I believe that's why John is the one writing this. You'll see why. And the angel did say unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which have 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, he's going to explain the mystery of Babylon. He's going to explain the mystery that John's saying, I saw Mystery Babylon. I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. Now I'm going to say this. The beast that thou sawest and was not, he shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. The only one who ever comes out of hell is Satan. In Revelation chapter number 20.
Yeah.
So the beast is actually the devil at this time.
That's what I would take it as.
Yes. And that beast is also the one who will go into destruction in the lake of fire. Right?
Yes.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So they see the abomination of desolation. They see the beast that was and now he is not. He's killed. But yet he is, because he comes back. And so anybody who's not saved will fall for this delusion, which is terribly scary. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. That's not 7 hills. That's not 7 cities. That's not Rome. That is 7 mountains which are kingdoms. How do you know? And there are 7 kings, and 5 are fallen, and 1 is. Kings don't rule mountains. They rule kingdoms. And the 5 major kingdoms, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and the one that mimics this final one, because the Roman Catholic Church is bloodied her hands with the death of the saints and murdered Christians throughout the entire Roman Empire. But here's the thing, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So to me, a time, times, and a half a time would be a short space. So why do you say it's only a 3.5 year point? Because nobody becomes the Antichrist until after he comes back from the dead. The beast that was and is not and yet is. He only continues as the Antichrist for 3.5 years. The first 3.5 years of Daniel's 70th week, nobody knows what's going to happen. It's going to catch most people off guard.
Yeah.
They're not going to be ready.
Right.
They're drunken. They're filled with the cares of this life. They need a new car. They need a new boat. They need a bigger house. They'll pay a higher interest rate. They don't care. They'll pay $18 for 12 eggs. They really, money doesn't matter. They've got tons of it. That's why I think America's Babylon.
They'll probably even be happy that they're building a third temple.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, inclusion for everyone.
They'll donate towards it.
And
Yeah.
the beast, and get this, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So we know the 8th beast is the same person as the 7th, but the difference is the 8th is the one that goes into perdition. Now even him who's coming after is as the power of Satan, with all signs and lying wonders. The dragon gave him his seat, his power, and great authority. It's now the devil, like when he indwelt Judas Iscariot.
Right.
It's actually too big of a job for a man. Satan needs to do it. All right. And the 10 kings which thou sawest the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. They shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Now, here's the thing. If Revelation 6 is talking about 10 kings going to make war with the Lamb, why are they hiding? These guys actually go to fight because the only chance they have is to keep Jesus off the throne. And they've already taken the mark. They've already made a league with the beast. They already know their end. And the only chance they have is to get God to lie, or to stop Jesus from taking the throne.
That's right. And if they can, he's a liar and it won't. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But we know the end.
From the beginning.
I believe the leader of Babylon will be a U.S. president. And I believe he's also the guy who sets up the covenant with many for 1 week. Now in Daniel chapter number 9, how much time do we have?
About 2.5 minutes.
Good. Now, verse number 24 says, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal it up, the vision, the prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Now therefore, and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem unto the Messiah, Prince of Peace, shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. Here's where it changes. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and to the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. In the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease for the overspreading of abominations. He shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Now, if we were to go to Daniel chapter 11, and I'm trying to hurry for a moment, verse number 21, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries, and with the arms of a flood shall be overflown from before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. So there has to be a guy who sets up a covenant with a league, and I could go into the other part in chapter 11, a league with many. There's a guy who sets up a league or a covenant, and he breaks it by the abomination of desolation, because now he wants the world to worship him. So he then steps in that role. He is the beast, and he uses the whore to get there.
So whore being Babylon?
Babylon, which I believe is the United States, the only nation that has the military might that if the Antichrist took it, could enforce the mark of the beast. The number one problem people have had is when they take a nation, they can't control the people. But if you have the mark of the beast, you can control the world. And man can't buy or sell without that mark.
Yeah, good. We'll pause here and then go on.